Namaskar. Welcome to episode 8 of the Sanmitram series by India Foundation. Sanmitram means enhancing friendship through cultural heritage and features interesting conversations with youngsters, professionals in the field of art and culture across the globe. Today we have a talented digital artist, Upasana Govindarajan from Boston, USA. Upasana loves illustrating and retelling stories from Indian scriptures, and her contemporary interpretations are enjoyed both by children and adults alike. Upasana specializes in artwork for books, music videos, board games, and more. Very warm welcome to you. Thank you for joining the Sanmitram series of India Foundation. Storytelling is a powerful medium that can influence and inspire people. In fact, good stories provide meaning to one's life. What drew you to the stories of Indic origin that's the basis of your artwork?
Namaste, and thank you so much for this opportunity. It's a pleasure talking to you. To answer your question, I think I would have to start off with temples being my happy place. As a child, I was taken to a lot of temples. So during my temple trips with my family, I was drawn to all the stories and the legends around those temples. My interest in storytelling started there. So I would travel with a grand aunt, and my grandmother herself is a good storyteller, and my mom too. So they would tell me stories on the way to all these kshetrams. And before I get to have a darshan of the deity, I would know why the temple town came about, why the temple came about. So this was a perfect starting point for me to understand bhakti in itself. It was a great place for me to understand devotion. All these stories are very important to how we grow as a person. And these stories definitely did help me grow as an individual. Even as a child, my father used to tell me stories from the Mahabharata at bedtime. My mother herself is very artistic, so she has had exposure to different art forms. So she would tell me stories from whatever she has learned. All of those were a very, it just opened out several doors for me to understand what these stories mean to me.
That's wonderful. It's really reinvigorating to be in a conducive environment that encourages your interest.
Right, that's right.
You seem to have interesting themes in your illustrative expressions. Tell us about your projects.
Art became a means of creative expression for me started with festivals. I started sketching and creating art as a means of observing a particular festival. So that was my sadhana. During Navaratri, I would draw Devi for all the 9 nights or days, whenever I would find time. And during Shivratri, I would stay up and draw. During Krishna Jayanti, I would draw Krishna. During Margari, I would draw Andal and her Pasuram. I think the themes are already out there. I just pick it from, why we observe a certain festival. So, yeah.
Upasana, you have a degree in computer science and engineering from India. How did your pencils and pastels find their way to study in Tufts University, which is a premier top-ranking private research university in Massachusetts?
So, yes, I went to the School of the Museum of Fine Arts at Tufts. I went there because I felt that there were gaps that needed to be filled in my artistic career, because I was self-taught for the most part. And I began freelancing because I feel the digital medium is very kind in itself, because it provides an even playing field for experts and beginners. I think that gave me the confidence to actually convert it into a full time career. But I soon realized that I needed to have a good foundation. So, for that reason, I felt I needed to take formal training. I needed to have formal training. And that is why I went to SMFA at Tufts. And there I learned how to work with different traditional mediums, which helped me apply those learnings in the digital medium. So when I say traditional medium, it is like pencils or pastels and watercolors or acrylics and stuff like that, charcoals and stuff like that. Whereas digitally, you have tools like Adobe, programs like Photoshop, Illustrator, and I draw on the iPad. So there are a lot of tools that mimic traditional mediums, but the effect isn't exactly the same. You will have to know how to use the traditional medium to be able to apply, to be able to use a digital version of that medium to produce a similar effect. So this is the difference between a traditional and a digital medium. Because at the end of the day, art is what it is, and a medium is just a way to express to translate your thought into art. I was not a big fan of the medium itself trying to consume me. I wanted the ideas to be conveyed in a way that is um, uh, in a way that is easily received by everybody. And I see the digital medium as just a medium for that. But even for that, as an art practitioner, you have to be good at doing what you do. It's not enough if you just have ideas, right? You need to be able to convert those ideas into something that everybody can consume. So in my case, it was illustration. So for that, I needed to have good technical skills, which is why I went to SMFA.
The digital media is a booming industry, and the pandemic has created a technological revolution. Where do you think the digital media is headed?
So even before the pandemic, like say 10 years ago, if somebody had told me that you could create art digitally in a very similar way that you create traditional art, I wouldn't have believed them. So I think even before the pandemic, digital art was going places. But now more so, um, we all turn to art to heal. And I think it's possible only by the digital medium. Like even this Zoom call, it is happening because of technology. I mean, we are not in person, but this is still happening. With art, we have more avenues now, like um, animation and virtual reality, 3D printing, and more recently NFTs. So I think the list is endless. If you think about it, artists have always made art with whatever resources they've had access to in their eras. Now with the digital boom, like you said, digital art is definitely a great way to express oneself creatively. And for someone like me who does digital art exclusively, it's opened a lot more opportunities. For example, now I have my own online store where I sell prints of my work. And my journey as a creative entrepreneur has been made possible only because of the digital medium. So that's just to quote one example, but there are a lot more out there. I've just scratched the surface.
It's amazing, isn't it? The range of possibilities that the digital media can offer.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Chennai is a cultural gateway for southern India. Chennai is also included in UNESCO's Creative Cities Network for its rich musical tradition. The city of Chennai becomes suddenly alive and magical during the dance music season held in November, December, January, popularly called as the Margari season. Your thoughts on Margari season, please?
Margary to me is the time that that is offered to us for spiritual progress. It is said that the month of Margari is dawn for the devas or the celestials, but for us it is one whole month. So that gives us a lot of opportunity uh, to elevate ourselves spiritually, because and there are a lot of references to it as well. Even in the Bhagavatam, there is a reference to the gopis observing the Katyayani Vratam to attain Lord Krishna as their husband. And our own Andal, inspired by that, came up with her own Pave Nomba. So that is central to what I observed during the month of Margari. Chennai December season, a season full of music and art and dance and all art forms. I think it's a great way to focus on the divine, which is the point of Margari. So I see art as a way to connect with the divine. So in that way, I think Chennai is the best place that one can be to reap the fruits of whatever sadhana you're doing for Margari.
It was a very interesting conversation with you, Upasana. And on behalf of India Foundation, my sincere thanks to you for sharing your thoughts and works. And I wish very much that your designs and images draw many awards and appreciation to your satisfaction.
Thank you so much. That's so kind of you. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.